Hello, my right-wing religious batshit friends. See this cup? It's an empty glass. I'm gonna pour Coca Cola in it. And now, I'm gonna drink the Coca Cola. Refreshing. Okay, so obviously you could tell that Coca Cola struck up some type of controversy with the right wing during the Super Bowl. Now, why did it strike up controversy with the right wing? Oh, yeah, because America the Beautiful was sung in different languages of different ethnicities that live in this country. And this commercial was shot all over the U.S. California, Nebraska, Texas, New York, so forth. Even Alaska. But why do the right wing hate that it was sung in all different languages? So because they claim America the Beautiful only has to be sung in English and nothing more than English. Someone posted on Twitter, and I quote, America the Beautiful should be sung in English, nothing else. Get on board or go home. That was someone's tweet, and then was hashtag fuck Coke. Now, when did this country become more racist than it was before? Last time I checked, there was a civil rights movement in the 60s that stopped prejudice from banning African Americans eating with white people. Am I right? And a civil rights law was passed pretty much saying that blacks have the right to eat wherever they want, including with white people. So, here we are today.
James, please keep your voice low.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that background. I seriously hate when I get interrupted. Um, so pretty much that prejudice is still around, but not as much as it was. But it rose again when Obama became president. Why did that happen? Oh, yeah, because the Republicans think that this is a white man country still. They think the KKK still rules this country. In fact, the Republicans wish the KKK still were able to wear the mask. That's how sick the party's become. And in fact, hold on. And in fact, this country was built on morals to welcome people from different countries. And what these people don't seem to understand that they didn't inherit this country. May need I remind you that you came from foreigners that came to America from Italy, Spain, Cuba, Russia, England, so forth. You know who inherited this country? American Indians, Native Americans, and guess what we did to them? When we came over here, we said, get the hell out. We're going to take over your land. And the Indians, believe it or not, were only nice to the Pilgrims because the fact that they came over here, they weren't threatening them to move out. They became friends for a reason. Survival of the fittest. If it was anything else, the Native Americans would have killed the Pilgrims. Think logically. Survival of the fittest. That's what human nature is. So, you have the Pilgrims and Indians living together, survival of the fittest, so they could get through a harsh winter and get through the days without starving to death. Now, when we came over here, the other white men, Washington, Jefferson, Adams, so forth, when we came over here, we were different. We weren't like the Pilgrims. We were far different from the Pilgrims.
Huh?
What did the new white men do? We threw them out of their land. That's what we did. We threw them out of their land, and when we threw them out, we put them in reservations. Small reservations. And have you ever heard of the Trail of Tears? Yeah, they got smallpox. And especially Christopher Columbus, who thought this country was India. But but that's an easy mistake because there weren't any markings on the continents on any maps, so that's an easy mistake. But when he got here, one of his men was stoned to death. One of his men was stoned to death by Indians. Why? Because he was intruding their land. And Christopher Columbus had to negotiate with the Native Americans. And like I said before with the Pilgrim Survival of the Fittest, and when Christopher Columbus left this continent, he gave them blankets and that were diseased. And what did those blankets do? They killed off a majority of the Native Americans and they vowed to get revenge. They vowed to get revenge. So when the other white men, after the Pilgrims, came to this continent, what did they do after we threw them out? They waited until we started building colonies. And when England was trying to force us back over there, what was declared? You learned this in school, the Revolutionary War, so we could fight for our independence. And what happened? Who did the Native Americans side with? Not us, the Redcoats. This is all facts, people. I'm not making this shit up. Indians sided with the Redcoats, and the Redcoats made a deal with the Indians saying, hey, if you know where these colonists live, we promise you you can get your land back. That was a deal that was made. Now, some Indians went with the Redcoats and some didn't. Some went with the colonists because some didn't see the colonists as threatening. But some killed colonists with the Redcoats. Like I said, survival of the fittest. The Indians knew where to ambush the colonists. They knew where the colonists would look for food or for shelter for the night. They knew how to ambush them. That's what helped the Redcoats capture some of the colonists or kill some of the colonists. Now, after that, they got a majority of their land back. But what happened? We won the Revolutionary War. And what did we do? We took the land back from them and we kicked them out again. And when we kicked them out, this time it was permanent reservations. It was permanent this time. And those permanent reservations where the Indians still live today. And while we developed as a country, and years later when we were an actual country, there was a poem written saying, "Give me your weak and give me your poor." Who were the poor? People from Italy, Spain, Russia, so forth. And have you ever heard of the Statue of Liberty Republicans? If you have, you must forget what it stands for. Lady Liberty, the one who holds the torch up, showing that there's better life here than there is anywhere else. You're forgetting that people who speak different languages have the right to live here. They have the right to work here. They have the right to eat here. They have the right to let their children grow up here. They have the right to buy housing here. You know what I'm saying? They're American citizens. It's generations and generations and generation of different Americans that came to this country for better life, and they did. Why do you think immigrants are better Americans than actual Americans? Why do you think that? They have more patriotism for this country than any of us. To immigrants, this country saved them.
James, take it easy, please.
Why do you guys fail to see that? You think it's 1800s or the 1776 where white man still rules this country. Well, it's not. And in fact, since the Olympics are coming up, I might as well address this issue. On Twitter, for the Olympics, the hashtag is Team USA. And someone put on Twitter, and I quote, and I'm not making this up, "Why are hashtag Team USA letting gay people go to the Olympics?" That was the tweet. It sounds like that person sides with Putin. It sounds like that person's a very homophobic person. Just like Putin. You know why we have gay athletes going to the Olympics? To show just because someone is gay doesn't make them different from anyone else. Doesn't make them different at a sport. Doesn't make them different at a profession. Doesn't make them different at the same hobbies you have. For God's sakes, all you homophobic bastards. Grow humanity. I'm not sure if you weren't born with any humanity. I'm sure you aren't. But take these words of consideration from the late, great Nelson Mandela. It is easier for a person to love, because love comes naturally, than hate. With that, I leave you with Hashtag kudos to Coke.